Storytime. It was about 3 years ago in 8th grade, and I was in not math class, I was in art class. And in art class, we had this project where we had to create a paper mache food item, right? A food item. It could be anything as long as it was appropriate and easy to paper mache. So we got assigned a partner, and I don't want to say anybody's name, but we're just gonna call him, his name is going to be Backpack. Me and Backpack were partners. And I said to Backpack, I was like, let us do a pineapple, because I like pineapples, and it seems like that would be a pretty fairly easy paper mache item to create. And of course he's like, yeah, that sounds great. So we began making it. But during the making of the pineapple, I realized that I was literally the only one doing things. I was the only one paper macheing. I think the whole time, like out of the 2 weeks we were working on it, I only saw him put on like 4 strips of paper mache on there, which is not a lot for a whole entire pineapple, but I digress. We continued on with everything. We're working, well, I'm working very hard. And you know, as time goes on, at first I thought, you know, maybe he's having a hard time thinking about it. He cut the box at the beginning, because we started off with the box and cut the edges off. He cut the edges off, which is great, but after that he literally did nothing else. So yeah, so after a while I'm thinking maybe he doesn't know what else to do at this point, so I'm trying to give him a nudge, like, hey, maybe you could help me put up some strips, maybe you could try to figure out how to put the stalk in there, you know, something like that. Do something, right? He did nothing the first week, the whole first week, and like I said, we had about like two to 3 weeks to do it, and I'm like, okay. And so I decided to talk to my art teacher at the time, and I was like, okay, sir, my partner is not doing anything. Like, he's not trying, he's not contributing. All he did was cut the freaking edges off the box, which was like the easiest part, and that's it. He didn't do anything else. And so the teacher was like, well, you know, give it some time, maybe he'll do something. And I'm like, okay, well, we don't have that much time. It's been like 50% of our time already, and he hasn't done anything. So I'm just like, okay. Time goes on, the second week rolls by, we're about halfway through the week, it's like Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'm like, okay, look, I've had enough of this, our time is almost up, like, you need to do something, like, it's getting ridiculous at this point. And you know, I'm not yelling at him, but I'm giving him a harder push, because I'm like, this is a group grade or whatever, like, you need to get it together, like, we're going to get an F. And so, you know, he's like, okay. So he puts the 3 little strips on there and calls it a freaking day. And I'm like, okay, well, put the hole out the top of the box, and then I put the stalk. When time came around to take the pineapple home, he was like pestering me about it all day, and I kept saying no because he didn't do anything. But after a while, me being irritated, I just said, sure, go ahead and take it, and all this other stuff. And because I was fed up. And I'm just thinking afterwards, I'm like, shoot. Like, I literally did all of that work for him to probably take it home and be like, tell his parents, like, look at what I made. So that definitely was not what I wanted to do. Anyways, today what we're going to do is we're going to be recreating the pineapple so that I can have it for my own, so that nobody can take it from me, because I don't have a partner. I'm doing this by myself, me, that's it.
So, like I had mentioned earlier, we did have to cut the edges off of the box, but the thing is, I didn't have a box cutter, so I had to work with what I had. What I'm doing here is I'm just taping the box to make sure it stays kind of in place while I'm trying to cut the edges off, just to make it a little bit easier on myself. So here I am marking off all of the corners that I want to cut off, just to make sure they're pretty much even, which spoiler alert, they were not even at the end just because of the way I cut them, and it was kind of lopsided. But for the most part, they were kind of okay. I don't know if you can tell or sense the frustration, but needless to say, it was a little bit difficult to try to get these off. But as you can see, I eventually did figure out how to actually punctured the box to be able to cut the edges off. And finally, by some omniscient force, it worked. And now here is the box with all of the corners on the floor. You can't even barely see it because of the way I was filming, but it turned out pretty okay. I'm kind of glad. Next step is to make the actual paper mache paste. Now, what I used to make this was about 6 cups of ingredients all together. So 5 parts water and 1 part flour. So I use, if you can't do math, that's 1 cup flour, 1 cup of flour, 5 cups of water, and I put it over low heat and let it simmer just until it was the consistency that I liked, and I whisked as many clumps as I could out. Don't expect it to be perfect because mine definitely was not, and I still had a lot of clumps in there, but it was good enough. Oh, and don't forget to put a top on top to make sure it boils. Now, actually, I had taken my big behind outside and put the first coat on out there. But this is what it looked like, just the first coat, nothing too extravagant, just, vibing out. Now you can see it's kind of apparent that there were clumps in my paste, but it worked. So I let this dry for about 3 hours, I think, because I had actually left it outside for about an hour. And then I realized that it was definitely not drying, so I just took it inside. This is one of the parts that I forgot to mention and show. Before you put the paper mache on, don't just throw the whole piece of newspaper on there. You want to rip them into about medium-sized strips, depending on the depending on the shape of your shape and, where you're putting the strip at. I just normally put them in standard medium-sized pieces because you don't want to make them too big or it will start bunching up and looking gross. So, yeah. But y'all, just take a listen how satisfying this is. I've completed a lot in the past week. I've been feeling a bit under the weather, but now I've gotten myself together, so we can continue. In this time, since I've last filmed, I've painted the pineapple. Now, it may be an eyesore to some people. The only thing that's an eyesore is this dent in the top, which is where I'm going to put the stem because this is the deformed part and it's not going to stand up if I put it like this, which is what it was supposed to look like, but it didn't do that. Yeah, so as I was painting this, I was thinking it's way more yellow in person, but on camera it kind of looks the color I wanted it to be. I was thinking of mixing some brown into the yellow, but I forgot to buy brown. I just bought more yellow, which I actually didn't need. I just used a whole 99-cent little plastic bottle of paint. Yeah, I used the whole thing to paint it yellow, and I only used about half the bottle of black to put the little, the black part on. Yeah, but since we're in the middle of a quarantine situation, which is when I'm filming this, I can't even go out to buy more brown paint because it's not a life or death situation. So I just did this, and I didn't paint the bottom because there's no reason to. Nobody's gonna see it anyway, so I didn't even put myself through that.
But yeah, now we're going to do the stem. Now I didn't measure this right well, I didn't measure it at all actually. So I just got this paper towel roll and this toilet paper roll that both ran out at about the same time, which is great for me coincidentally. So I'm just gonna tape them together like this and see, well, first of all, see if it'll reach the bottom and then come out the top. Which actually it looks like it might just do that, but if push comes to shove, I may need one more little toilet paper roll, which is fine. I can definitely just run out of toilet paper magically. I'm going to put the rolls together and I'll get back with you. Okay, so I'm done taping it. This is what it looks like. I just put the rolls together about right there, secured it around the line where they meet, and then secured it really well at the top and the bottom to make sure they don't come apart. And side by side with the pineapple, I want the top to stick out a little bit because I have some green construction paper and I'm gonna cut it up and then tape it at the top so that it sticks out. But I want the top of the pole to stick out as well. So judging from this, it's going to just barely come out of the top if it were to reach all the way to the bottom. Actually, it like literally just barely comes out of the top. So I don't know exactly how that's gonna work. Maybe I can use the actual leaves to tape it, or I can use actual construction paper to heighten the pole. So when I was at Office Max, this was literally, I couldn't find construction paper anywhere. Like I had to go to like 5 different stores, which is probably why I got sick in the first place, to get it. And this is the only type of construction paper they have, and as you can see, it's like 1,000 different colors. So I'm only going to use the yellow construction paper and the dark green construction paper, because the yellow construction paper is going to be to elongate this tube. With this construction paper, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half, like the long way, and so that it's like about a little bit longer than the length of the toilet paper roll. And then I'm going to put it on. Here's about the length of it. I'm gonna fold it around this way so that it's like the same width. It's not my best work, but it'll do. And actually, I'm gonna cut a little bit off of this side so that it's able to roll perfectly the same width as the other roll. Okay, and now it's almost a perfect square. Just about almost well, that's about a perfect square. I would say it is. No, it's not. No, it's not. It wasn't quite there. Yeah, so I want to roll it around and now kind of just size it up. What I'm gonna do is kind of overlap it, not quite like how I did this because I can't quite shove one tube into the other the same length. But I'm just gonna overlap it a little bit around like that to make it easier. But before I do that, I'm gonna get some pieces of tape to make it easier on myself. So this is the tube when I finally put the paper at the top. Oh, I thought it came apart. As you can see, it's not like the straightest thing you've ever seen in your life. It's definitely not the same as the tubes at the bottom, but hopefully you're not even supposed to see this part if I do the construction paper right. So this is the finished thing. Let me see how far this goes upward. The bottom down here. Oh, it comes out a considerable height, so we should be good. Now it's time for the green. Now for the leaves, I don't have a specific like thing I do. I just take some, I might have to cut them in half because these pieces of paper are kind of big, but cut it in half. And then I have this little sheet, and then from that little sheet, you want it to be layered a little bit, so this time I'm not going to cut the extra part off, but I want it to look as natural as possible. So I just cut little triangles into the, I just cut little triangles into the paper part at the top. Kind of treat it as a snowflake, kind of take out little triangle designs. Now that I've got these 2 lashes out, I'm able to start marking my pineapple for where I'm going to put the hole at. So ignore the mess. This is all from when I was painting and stuff. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to get my pen, which is all the way over here for some reason. I don't know why, but it's there. Oh, all right. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do, I don't know if you can see very well, but this is as low as it's gonna go without falling over, so we're good. So I wanna kind of see right in the middle where it's gonna go. And with this pigment pen, you can use any pen you want as long as you can see it. This one kind of has a thick tip on it, so you're gonna make, cause I don't know. So once I find where I want my stem, I'm just gonna mark around the base of the roll so that I know where to cut at to be able to put the stem in. Get your preferably a box cutter if you have one, but I don't have one, so I'm going to use this knife. Where you marked it at, you're going to go in. Oh, that was easier than I thought. You're going to go in. Oh, actually, no, there's still another layer down there. Oh my gosh. Okay. And you're just going to cut. Or attempt to around the hole that you made. But yeah, paper mache actually wasn't that thick. That's just all paper mache right there. Yeah. So now I've got my hole, which actually isn't as disastrous as I thought it would be. I'm just gonna take my tube and shove it through if I can and see. Oh, that's actually not as deep as I thought it was. So this is actually the perfect length of stick outage that I was hoping for. And I'm happy I put this extra tube up there because this would not have been enough. Now, I'm going to get some pieces of tape so that I can start taping the leaves on there. What I'm going to do is I've got, oh, my whole belly is out. I've got these leaves. Obviously, you just saw me cut them out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to line the bottom with tape. Don't put the whole piece of tape on there. Just leave it half and half on, half and half off. If it would stick, that would be great. Put it on just like YK Osiris said. You ain't got to be perfect. Just be worth it. This is what I meant by half on, half off. See, it's exactly what I said. What you're going to do is pull it out slightly, the tube, just a little bit. Be gentle with the tape because it's not very forgiving. Yeah, so if it would come back out, that would be great. Hold on, we're having technical difficulties. It's as good as I'm gonna get because it acts like it doesn't want to come back out, and I don't want to pull too hard because then the whole thing is gonna come apart. Tape in the middle because it's coming apart. And you can put it on uneven, it's alright. And then just shove it back down so that you can't see the tube anymore. And yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing with the second set of leaves. These little leaf parts, I'm going to bend downward. Like so. Just wherever they bend at, that's where you force them down. Shove it around there. Don't gotta be perfect. Just do your best. Okay, and before that pops back open and makes me cry, I'm going to tape the ends like that. Then, well, not like that. If you put the tape on too high to where you can't bend it, that's alright. Just peel it down, cut, and then flick it back up. It's not that hard. Okay, now you got your second little stem on. We're going to take a bigger piece this time because obviously it's not like long enough. We're gonna cut it. I don't know because the leaves are not actually that long, and I don't know how to fix that because the construction paper is like, I don't know. Maybe. Hold on. Maybe, just maybe. Let me try something. Don't listen to what I'm doing because this might be a fail. It's alright. Okay. And now bend it down. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So the half bend method will probably work best for a smaller pineapple. But since my pineapple is kind of big, I want to make sure that the leaves are really big. So I'm just gonna use a whole piece of construction paper, which is scaring me because I'm running out. You want to cut it as far down to the bottom as you can so that it's not this weird awkward piece at the bottom like mine. Hopefully yours comes out better than mine if you ever decide to do this. Which I recommend for decor, but like I would pay somebody to do it because this is a lot of work. No. Okay. Well, that was unexpected. Okay, 43 minutes and 17 seconds later, I am finally done. Actually, altogether, it's been like 2 weeks, but we're gonna ignore that part. To be honest, she kind of ratchet, but that's okay. It's supposed to be abstract anyway, so it's okay to be ratchet. She got some spots on there, but that's okay. Shouldn't be looking that hard anyway. Yeah, so this is the body kind of big and the head kind of small, but I kind of like it, just a little bit. Like she kind of like, yeah. Oh, don't take this as a tutorial because obviously I don't know what I'm doing. I just did this for my own personal leisure. But I mean, if you want to recreate the pineapple or do something similar, by all means go ahead. This is not copyrighted, but do it better than me though, because this, I mean, it kind of looks like the one I did before, but the other one was kind of like taller, so it didn't look so Van Gogh-ish. But hey, I love it anyway. So if you love it too, go ahead and recreate it. But like I said before, just make sure you know what you're doing so that you're not disappointed. And yeah, I think that's basically
Didn't even notice, no punches